Ciao, I'm Mary Ann Esposito.
And I'm Ciro Poppiti.
Today it's all about fresh ricotta cheese. That's it, real fast, real fast. Come on, get that baseball arm moving. Oh,
Ok.
okay. Non c'è ketchup.
No. Già vedi, mi fa la foto.
Basta?
Sì.
Sono molto delicati.
Molto delicato. Grazie a lei.
Grazie Marianne, grazie a voi.
You know, my mother's favorite leftover sandwich. Come on, you're Italian. Isn't this beautiful? Look at how pretty this is. It's delicious. How do you like that? I think you're great. And now we're ready to do the twist. So, looks gorgeous, smells wonderful.
I use my hands.
I love this woman. Okay. Okay, Ciro, let's talk about what you're going to make first.
Okay.
Because you produce your own ricotta cheese.
That's right. And we're going to make a pizza di Carnevale, which is sort of where I come from in Campania. It's a recipe and a dish we have before Lent, before the temperance, and you have to give up the meat and the cheese and our beloved ricotta.
Okay, what made you decide to make ricotta cheese?
Well, my family has been doing it in our town of Wilmington, in our little Italy, for almost 100 years. So it's in my DNA. I love ricotta because it's so Italy to me. You know, Italy, the old school, you use everything, and ricotta comes from the whey.
Right.
So you make the cheese, you get the whey, and then you recook. Yeah,
Okay.
and now you've got the ricotta. And it's so creamy. It's so I got to watch my weight. And you know what? It's the treat you can have when you really want to splurge.
Okay, so you have a really interesting technique.
That's right.
You rice this.
That's right. You know, some families, they have the family Bible. Okay. Our family, from generation, we have the family ricer.
This is an old ricer.
That's exactly right.
So you do this because you want the cheese to be smoother?
It comes so smooth and creamy. It comes so much better than you would normally do just from whipping it, okay? And so you just put it in like this, and the kids love it. It's like Play-Doh, right? And it just comes right out like that.
And you just rice it like that. Now, why couldn't you just whip it with a hand whipper?
The ancients knew better than us. We have tried time and time again to do better. But in reality, it just comes so nice with the ricer, okay?
So you get this all riced up, and this is going to be part of your filling, right?
Exactly.
This is part of the filling.
This is a pizza pie galore.
Absolutely, because it's going to make a big pie. And as you say, depending on where you come from in Italy, everybody had some kind of a pie in celebration of Easter. We called it pizzagena in dialect, which meant a full pizza, pizza piena. Right? Because piena means full. But somehow it got corrupted into chiena, pizza chiena. So there are many ways to say it. There are many dialect versions of this. So this is yours, the pizza di Carnevale.
Right.
And yes, we ate this on Holy Saturday, right after the big veil of sorrow was lifted, right?
Right. Because for all of Lent in the old days, you couldn't not just have meat, but you couldn't have the eggs, you couldn't have the milk, you couldn't have the cheese. So after 40 days, wow, this tasted sumptuous.
Well, what could I do while you're doing that?
Oh, good question. Why don't you start where one of our ingredients, we're going to have 8 eggs. And
8 eggs.
The secret to this is you've really got to whip those eggs well.
Okay, can I do it by hand?
Absolutely.
Okay.
And it's a great alternative to if you want to get away from the traditional eggs and toast and you want to have something different. Okay.
Now, is this enough, or does it have to be creamier?
Keep going. Keep going.
Okay, what about this cheese here, I see?
We have a ½ cup of pecorino.
Does that go in here?
Absolutely. Why don't you mix that in?
Okay, I can put that in. And we should tell everyone that pecorino cheese is a sheep's milk cheese, right? So we want to make sure we control the salt in this, I'm assuming, because this is a salty cheese.
Yeah, we don't want to. You don't want to come back and add salt to the recipe. Maybe a little pepper to taste, but it's got plenty of salt already. And you can see, I just did 4 cups, and it's rather easy. And then, of course, you got to take a little test.
Well, you got to go wash your hands now.
Understood.
All right, let me take that out of your way. And why don't you wash your hands? And then we can continue on. Just right in that bowl there.
Okay.
Just wash your hands. Now, I should tell you that I don't think a lot of people realize that the word Carnevale means to go away from meat. Carnevale.
Right.
Va, right? Go away. Carne means meat. So it makes perfect sense to call this pizza di Carnevale because it's a Lenten thing where you remembered you just said that you couldn't eat meat during Lent. So
Exactly.
pizza di Carnevale. Okay.
Okay.
So you have this. Now what?
Well, we have already browned about a pound and a half, and it sounds like a lot, but it really comes nice.
Italian.
Pound and a half of Italian sausage.
Okay.
You might like it spicy. This is mild, so you just throw it right in here.
So that goes in.
Okay.
Do these eggs go in now?
Yes.
Are they whipped enough?
They're perfect.
Okay. What else goes in?
Okay, and then we have cubed mozzarella.
Cubed
Mozzarella
cheese,
Yes.
and this I'm assuming is cow's milk mozzarella.
It is. It is.
Okay.
All right.
That's good. So that was a whole pound?
Yes.
A pound of mozzarella. Okay.
And
Now,
just mix it up.
wow.
And
You want a little pepper with that,
Yeah,
don't you?
please.
Okay, let me get you a little pepper. So you are teaching your children how to do this now.
exactly. And it's a lot of fun because they love those gooey ingredients.
All right, now I'm assuming that we're going to have to make some type of a crust for
Right.
this. Okay.
And I think we're actually ready. This just needs a little bit more mixing.
All right, well,
but
I can mix that for you
Okay,
while
great.
you do the dough. So
Great.
your pan, I got it ready for you
Okay.
because I got your memo.
Yes.
So you're doing this. Let me wipe this up for you
Thanks.
so you have a
Very
clean
courteous.
surface. Okay.
One of the keys of this recipe is to use a spring-form pan. It comes so nice when you take the spring off, and then it just looks so regal on the.
So that looks like a 10-inch.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and
So
it's
you
already been
greased it.
pre-greased. Yeah.
Okay.
And now we're gonna roll out our dough and make our pie, which the kids love. I mean,
which
this
you
is
brought with you in the car.
Yes.
Okay, so it's all ready to go. Do you
when that
punch it
exhaust
down?
is going, it rises so well. Believe me.
You don't
okay?
need to punch it down.
No, I normally don't. All right, you're just going to divide it in half, but cheat a little bit on one side, and the one side with a little bit more, that's going to be your bottom. So let's pull that out here.
Okay.
Give me a hand there.
Yep. We'll
Great.
save this other half
Great.
for the top, right?
Right. Okay.
So I'll keep that down here.
And I always use wax paper.
Okay.
That's for a guy who's all thumbs like me.
Here you go.
It's an easy way to.
Some wax paper.
Yeah.
Okay.
Great. So put that on the bottom.
Is
Can I have that
good?
other top? And I'll
You
put
want
it-
this on
yeah,
top.
Perfect.
Okay. Excellent. I think
All right.
I taught you this trick, didn't I?
You did indeed. You did indeed. All right, now, this is Grandma Pupo's rolling pin, all right?
It's
this
a
is
beauty.
the great equalizer between the old ladies and the little kids, right? All right, now this is the part they love because everybody begins yelling at me that I don't know how to roll dough correctly, so.
Okay.
All right? But it's just a lot of fun.
So you're going to line your pan with
Right.
half of this, right?
Right, exactly.
Okay, good.
All right?
And how many times have you actually made this recipe? Do you make
Well,
it?
I like it around holiday times, of course. It was traditionally, as we say, right before Ash Wednesday, right before Lent, but it's a decadent dish, so it's not every day. But it's one of those traditions that I'm trying to pass on. It was passed on to me the old school way, and I'm
And
trying
you're
to
passing
keep
it on.
Exactly.
Now, I don't think we told people how you and I know each other.
Right.
How do we know each other?
I knew you from television, Mary Ann. I don't know how you know me, but I knew you from television.
I know Ciro because we're both members of the National Italian American Foundation.
That's right.
And Ciro, you played a big role in that organization for many years.
I did, and still am, and it's a great way, again, a great organization by which we can pass down the traditions.
The traditions, and this is one of them. This is
Right.
wonderful that we can share this with you today. So you roll your dough fairly thin,
Right.
and you want to roll it wide enough so that you have some slack for this pan. So a good way to measure that is to just sit the pan on top of what you've already rolled out to see how much more you need to roll. So that's looking very good.
Okay.
I think you have that rolling technique down
Okay,
really
great.
well. Must be some karma going on in the rolling pin.
Agreed.
The mozzarella. That's called the
Yeah.
mozzarella. Okay.
I always know it's go wash the dishes, if you know what I mean.
Is it wide enough, do you think?
I think so.
Okay, so now,
Okay, all right. So if you'll hold that, I'm
Yeah.
just going to peel this back.
can I help you?
Yeah.
All right, we'll take the paper off. That
Okay.
keeps it very clean and easy. And we'll save that for your second piece. And now you need this.
All right, here we
Okay.
go. So you just
I'll
flip it
say
up.
a Hail Mary
Yeah,
while you
all
get
right.
that in. Okay.
Just flip it up.
That's-
And again, you said the key word, which is slack.
Slack.
Yep.
Yeah. So just shimmy off that paper.
All right.
There you go. Give it some slack now so you can play with it. Now I'll
Right.
take this out of your way.
Now this is what the kids love to do. Then they get to pat it down nice and easy. And you really want to build up the side walls because they want to hold all that filling in.
And it's a very soft dough, so because it has all that olive oil in it. And originally, I would say that this pie probably was made with lard.
Absolutely.
If you go way back.
Right.
This
but
was
there's
not
some
made with
traditions
olive
where
oil.
we're glad to have moved on from.
All right, well, that looks good. I think now we can get the filling in, huh?
Great. Now this you have to do with love. All
Okay,
right? Because
all right.
otherwise it goes everywhere.
Okay, so you have to, you just
Oh,
can't dump it in.
No, just can't dump it in.
Okay.
Lovingly
All right, spoon it in.
You want to?
So you have to lovingly, so let me help you spoon that.
All right.
Let me see if I can spread it for you while you're
Beautiful.
spooning. You spoon and I'll spread.
So before Lent, the tradition was in our part of Italy that you would have the sausage because the pig would have just been killed, okay? And then at the end of Lent, after 40 days and the pig has cured, then you would have had all of the cured meats, like the salami. Today in America we say pepperoni, but all of the cured meats.
Because if you say pepperoni in Italy, you're getting peppers, not salami, right? So again, you know, a lot of these foods go along with religion, they go along with tradition and culture. So there's always a reason why something is the way it is. That's good. And now we can pull that off.
You know, Mary Ann, some people are intimidated by cooking with ricotta because sometimes it can come a little too soggy. But one of the things that...
Yours is very dry.
It is. If you need to drain it, do so. Don't be intimidated by it.
Yeah. And I see you've got an interesting name for this.
Yes.
It's called...
Arcangelo.
Arcangelo. Now, why does it have that name?
Well, because St. Michael the Archangel is our patron saint from our part of Italy and Campania,
So
the
you're pinching
Sorrentine
that
coast and our hometown of Alevino su Tusciano.
Well, what a very good idea that was.
Yeah, so you just...
So here, maybe if you
got a
use
knife? Yes, well, you're a
just use a knife to take that off.
That's another thing to wash in my house, you know what I mean?
There you go.
Okay.
Now you want to press this into the pie, right?
Right. As Mom would say, 2 fingers, forefinger and thumb. Get it and really connect the bottom and the top.
And the top.
Because that'll seal it all, the filling right in.
I'm curious to know what you're going to do on the top here. You don't do an egg wash or anything?
You can. I prefer not to.
That looks beautiful.
I think it comes golden just the way it is.
Okay.
All right.
We need a little slit there, do we?
Yes.
Okay.
And while you do that...
Allow some venting to go on while this pie is cooking.
Earlier today, you shared one of your family traditions with me, so I'm gonna make the...
You're going to make the cross.
Yes.
Right. Whenever we made this, of course, and you had dough left over, what were you going to do with that leftover dough? Because as you know, in an Italian home, nothing is ever wasted.
That's right.
Nothing.
That's right.
So I can remember my grandmother doing this, making the cross that went on top of the pie, the symbol of Easter, of course. So I told Ciro, I said, why don't you put a little cross on top of your pizza Carnevale? And he liked the idea,
I love it.
so we're going to put a little cross on top.
It's old school.
Yeah. All right, so you make the cross, and I'm going to put this piece aside here because we are not done. We still have to make something else with that wonderful ricotta that you brought.
Great.
So let's put the cross on.
Okay.
And this goes directly in the oven. There's
Just right in the oven.
Not allowing it to rise another time, a second time.
So there we go.
There's your cross. Okay. Well, the top oven's on for you, so why don't you go ahead and put it in the top oven.
Okay.
While I get the ingredients ready for the next thing we're going to do, which is a wonderful torta di ricotta, a ricotta cheesecake. And this is a real simple one,
You knew
Ciro.
I was coming, right?
I knew you were coming, and I knew you loved cheesecake. So for this, we're not even going to make a pastry crust, although you could. You could do it with a pasta frolla, a shortcut of pastry. But instead, we are going to use amaretti cookies. Would you like one? Go ahead, take one.
May I?
Yes, you
All
may.
right, great. They call me the Cookie Monster, so...
That's why I decided you should have one. Amaretti mean little bitter things. And that's why this cookie has this name, because it is made really from 2 types of almonds, sweet and bitter. We cannot get bitter almonds in this country, but in Italy, of course, they do. So amaretti. So I'm going to pulse that up. This is what a food processor is good for. And now we're going to add some sugar and about 4 tablespoons of, why don't you give me a a spatula there,
Okay.
of melted and cooled butter. So butter goes in to bind all of this. So there's our butter. And now we're just going to whip that up and get that all pulverized. So now that we have that, I'm going to stop this, and we're going to put this into a springform pan. Not a springform pan, a tart pan. I'm thinking springform because you just got done with springform pan. But this is a 9-inch tart pan with a removable bottom. And this goes together very easily. We're going to take out these crumbs and dump them right here, right into our shell.
Oh, yeah.
And now we want to pat that in. So why don't you go ahead and do that.
Okay.
Start patting in that and get it up the sides so it's really up the sides. You want to make sure that it's even. Press it down so it's really in there. And let it go for about, 8-10 minutes. It should look just nicely browned. So you go ahead and put that in.
All right.
Oh, I'm so glad you're here in the kitchen today because you're a lot of help.
Well, normally I'm washing the dishes, so this is a big treat.
And I'm going to put this back here. And by the magic of course, cooking in this kitchen, we have a shell. You see how nice and firm it is now. And you want it to cool down.
Okay.
You want it to cool down because now we have to do the filling for this, which begins with your ricotta cheese. There it is.
Great.
I'm going to add some mascarpone to it as well. So there's the ricotta. And instead of doing that with a ricer, we're going to do it with a hand mixer. So you want to get this going and get that smooth. And while I'm doing that, why don't you put in the
Sure.
mascarpone?
All at one time?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's a half a cup of mascarpone. So now that we have that mixed,
Move this
why
up
don't
here.
you give me the sugar?
Okay.
I'm going to lower that. This is confectioner's sugar. It's going to make that nice and light. The problem with making cheesecakes in general is that you over whip them. You put too much air in them, and then that's why they crack on the top. So if you don't over whip, it'll be fine. Here we have 2 whole eggs and 1 egg yolk. That goes in. And could you measure me out a teaspoon of that Fior di Sicilia? Right here. This is a product that I absolutely love in cheesecakes. It's a citrus flavoring. And when you smell it, take a smell of it. Doesn't it smell like Sicily?
Yeah.
It smells just like Sicily.
That's wonderful.
So put it right in
All
here.
right.
A teaspoon. I wish the folks at home could smell that because it's smelling beautiful. And that's about all I'm going to do for mixing. And the last thing I want to do is add this zest. So orange zest. Get that in.
Get this out of your way.
And now we put the zest in. This is a really easy cheesecake. And we mix this in.
That's my speed, so
Yeah,
that's perfect.
This is simple. And this is beautiful with your ricotta. It's going to taste even better than what you get in the store. So now you can bring over that shell, because this has to go back in the oven. We have to cook this until it sets. So we started on 350 degrees to bake the shell, but now what we want to do is reduce the temperature to 325. That's another mistake that people make who make cheesecake, is they bake it at too high a temperature. But if you bake it slowly at 325, it'll come out much better, creamier, and it will not crack on top. I get all that out of there, Ciro, because it's just too good
None for me to lick?
waste.
What's the matter?
Well, it's got raw egg in there. I
All
don't
right.
think you want to do that. But it fits that beautifully. And now we need to put it on a bake sheet.
Okay.
So let me get out that bake sheet that we had and fit it right on there without the tray. Without the tray.
Thank you.
Okay. And this goes into the bottom oven right here. And we're going to bake that at 325 for about 30 or 35 minutes, just until it's set. So, there you have it. Thank you, Ciro. ways to use fresh ricotta. Today, Ciro and I made you some wonderful ricotta cheese-based recipes, but not just from any ordinary ricotta cheese. We used Ciro's artisan-made ricotta cheese, which was very, very, very good.
Thank you.
And you started right there with making your
Pizza di Carnevale.
And you want to tell everybody what that was again?
Sure. So ricotta cheese, plus we added the sausage, eggs, pecorino cheese, and mozzarella cheese. And then we put it right into the pizza pie in an hour. It looks that gorgeous.
It looks really delicious. And what kind of wine would you recommend?
An Italian Pinot Grigio, an Italian white, really pairs well with the food. It doesn't overpower the taste of the pizza, but it complements it.
Not too heavy.
Exactly.
And then my inspiration for this wonderful ricotta cheesecake came from you. And we mixed fresh ricotta cheese with mascarpone. We added eggs and orange flavoring, a little bit of that fior di Sicilia, and we put it in an amaretti cookie crust. And I think a limoncello liqueur is perfect for this.
I just want to dive right in, Mary Ann, to be honest with you.
Perfect with the citrus. And I love to serve this with some stewed apricots on the side. And oh, by the way, I had a lot of your ricotta cheese left over, so I turned it into a sauce for penne and green beans. Ciro, thanks for coming to my kitchen. Chin chin.
Salud.
And until I see you, Nella Cucina again, I'm Mary Ann Esposito.
And I'm Ciro Poppiti.
Ciao. We're about to go into the Duomo here in Florence, which is called Santa Maria del Fiore, dedicated to the Virgin, of course. And Florentines added the symbol of the flower. Fiore means flower. And the fleur-de-lis is the symbol of the city, the flower, also part of the Medici symbol. And we're in the square now, where there really are three components to this square. First is the baptistry right here, done in white and green marble. The white marble comes from nearby Carrara, but the green marble is from Prato. And I think of Prato as the city of biscotti because I'm a cook. And I've made the biscotti di Prato many times. I never realized that the green marble also comes from nearby Prato. If you look at the Duomo, which is like a, well, you just don't know where to look first because there's just so much decoration on it. But it has the white marble, of course, from Carrara. It has the green marble from Prato. And it has the pink marble from Siena. And then, so you have the baptistry, because before you could enter the church, you had to be baptized. So over here, you have the bell tower. This is the bell tower, this big tall structure next to the Duomo. And just about every major church in Italy has these components. Remember, this is at a time, it took 170 some years to build this Duomo. And this is at a time when religious fervor was extremely, extremely high. We haven't gotten into the period of the humanists when the emphasis went from God to man. We're in the period where the emphasis is on God, not man. And so this, all of this, is a stupendous reflection of that reverence for the divine.
Ciao